everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fourtress of a podcast about movies, TV shows, video games, and lots of pop culture and nerd things. My name is Oscar. I'll be one of your hosts today, and with me, per usual, are two of the other hosts. We've got Alex the Brawn, also known as the Dad, and we got Devin, also known as the Brains and Mr. Nowhere. How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
I'm doing good. Good to see you guys. Always feel
we
like
haven't seen you in a little bit.
Here we are.
Too long.
Feeling good.
Feeling good. Feeling tired, but good. Just feeling good.
Life is life.
Life is life, and that's how it goes. Yes, listeners, it's just the three of us for this week, but we have some fun stuff to talk about. And as usual, you can check the time codes for spoilers or just if you want to skip sections or whatever you want. With that, though, guys, shall we just hop straight into our first segment of the week?
Oh boy.
Let's go.
News talk.
Which we like to call Free for All. That's not true at all.
I was like, oh wait.
We're skipping. The podcast is over. We're ending. We're going straight to the ending.
The fatigue.
No, listeners, our first piece of news for the week. James Gunn. We know him. We like him, I think. He, as we know, is directing the I guess it's very confusing, but we'll say it's the first piece of their new DC universe over at Warner Brothers, Discovery, whatever. Superman. Just Superman. It was called Superman Legacy. Now it is just Superman. He has finally released the first photo of our new Superman, David Corenswet. Devin, I'm very interested based on what you said. So how do you feel about this?
Not my Superman.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Why are you hating?
The suit looks cheaper. And to me, like him just in the suit, it looks like an early 2000s take on Superman for me. It's not the one, man. Not the one.
He does kind of look like a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
He's very dour.
I don't know what dour means, but he doesn't look like if I passed him on the street, he would avoid eye contact. You know what I mean?
And the suit looks a little like wrinkly. Like it looks like a CW kind of level quality. Like that's
there's
one
definitely
thing
some
Man of
wrinkles
Steel
to it.
nailed.
Yeah.
Like Man of Steel nailed it. It looked good. Like in Henry
Needs more
Cavill's
spandex.
perfect. I agree.
More
It needs to be
spandex.
like it just needs to be a little bit more unique. And this just looks bad. So
Yeah, it does kind of look like a regular old jacket or something.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it looks in motion.
ooh, you know what it looks like? It looks like something out of the set of The Boys. That's what it looks like to me.
It does have a little Homelandery vibes, doesn't it?
I'm more concerned as what this atomic purple galactic gun Kamehameha wave.
Man,
it's
it's got to be Brainiac. I think it's Brainiac.
And homeboy's just chilling in an apartment, putting some
Just
boots
strapping
on.
his boots up, man.
He needs
It's
to
like
hurry
another
up.
hard day.
He should be
Another
out there
long
by
day.
now.
He's suiting up.
I know it's a very interesting. Like, this is your first image to this movie, and it's a very interesting one to go, considering, like, I think a lot of people were tired of, like, the dark emo Superman from the last generation that we just saw, and this looks more like it of him just being very sad
He
and
looks
just like
a little,
tired.
He looks a little down.
But again, I this is just a weird promo image, whatever. Like, the suit is clearly dirty, and like it looks like he's just had a rough day. It just looks
I mean, it's not
tired
the
and
greatest
beat
of
down.
first looks, but I don't know.
But I will say the one positive I have, I have multiple. I don't think it's that terrible. I'm very excited that they brought the red trunks back. It looks like you get a little peek of it. He's got his underwear on the outside again, and I'm very excited to see how that goes, man. I knew James Gunn would
I
do
haven't
it.
paid enough attention to the
The red trunks and the yellow belt. By God, he's got.
I love it.
Yellow
I love
belt.
it.
You want the S to be super yellow as well?
I mean, yeah, look at it. It looks good. I'm not the S, the logo's not my favorite. I like an S that like is a little more pronounced and not so much attached to the border like it is. That's not my favorite S, but it's not it looks better than I thought it was going to look. I still like the cape. I like how long it is. They didn't go with like a tiny little short cape. They kept the cape nice and long, and it looks real. I think he looks good. He looks good, but again, I think in motion, I want you to see what it looks like in motion. I think in motion it'll look a little better. I'm also not super crazy about the high collar.
I don't know what else to say.
I don't know, man. Henry Cavill is my guy.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but I'm gonna give this guy a chance.
I'll wait for the
He
trailer.
got the red trunk. He's got his underwear out. It's good.
Okay.
Underwear plus.
That is such an Oscar quote. Like, I'm just excited they got the red undies back.
Yeah, I'm happy for
I
you.
want to see how they do it, man. But all right. Here we go. Next piece of news. This was a giant surprise, at least for me. Like, what the fuck? So Warner Brothers announced that they are making a new live action Lord of the Rings movie, and it got an update that it is going to be called The Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, which is going to be directed and star Andy Serkis, Gollum himself, which that I think is very cool. Very cool.
You know, that's props to Andy, but that's kind of where you lost me.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I want to see Gollum as the main character. Like, the Gollum game was a massive flop. This seems risky. I'm not gonna lie.
True.
Well, it's true, but I don't know if he will be the main character. I think he'll definitely be a big player because
you just said he's the main
it's
character.
The hunt for.
He's starring.
I guess
Gollum?
so. I guess, but I mean the hunt for Gollum also, if intends like in the books, it's what Gandalf and Aragorn are basically looking for Gollum
for like a
before
long time.
the events of
a
long
okay.
time. Yeah,
that's the thing, man. They can't. I don't want them to recast either one of those guys. And if it's centered around them, I'd rather it just be some other random ranger or something. You know,
there's no way Viggo Mortensen's coming back. There's no way he's gonna do it.
And like Ian can't be doing stunts and stuff anymore.
Yeah,
that's what's gonna bum me out.
I feel like it's gonna
bum me out too.
I feel like Andy's gonna be the lead character, and it's gonna be I think it'd be a good choice unless they can get the original cast to just have brand new characters.
Yeah. It's a very interesting.
Seems weird.
I wonder how it'll go because Andy is directly linked to the originals, so like, you know, he knows how that was done, and I'm not gonna like give it. I'm not gonna unfairly like say, okay. Rings of Power, I think we were a little critical, and like for good reason. And they did some things well, they did some things really not well. But like, I think having Andy Serkis being the one directing it, and Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh writing it, I think, or I'm sorry,
that's interesting.
Peter Jackson's producing it, but like, Fran Walsh, his wife, is writing it. So like, there's people that were around for the original trilogy.
That's promising.
They do it to get our trust, which will work because I'm gonna I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
I wonder who's doing the music.
Ooh, true. But yeah, I don't know. I think if they do it right, it could be awesome. But if they do it, if it's gimmicky and kind of like The Hobbit or kind of like Rings of Power, it could be really bad. But I think it also could be, if it's done with the right amount of care, could be great. We just got to set a lower bar than the original trilogy. Can't hold it to that.
Naturally, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it is a weird choice. This reads to me that this is a 90-minute movie. To me, I don't know how you can't make a 2.5 hour epic. I don't know. It's weird.
It's gonna be a 3-part
series. The funny thing is, there was like Devin pointed out, a 40-minute fan-made film that was on YouTube called The Hunt for Gollum. That I remember watching a long time ago. It's pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty boring. So, for one thing. A lot of people just running through the woods. And funny enough, Warner Brothers, I'm pretty sure, took it down off of YouTube finally, which is hilarious.
Was this a standalone book?
No.
Or is it just a section in the book, or it's just a brand new story?
It's probably like an appendice somewhere. I bet
it's in the appendices. It's probably it's probably one sentence that Tolkien said, like, oh, and then Gandalf and Aragorn hunted Gollum for 8 years, and like in an off letter to somebody sometime.
When did they do this? When did this happen?
And they did. Yeah.
That's the one alarming thing to me about this is that maybe I shouldn't be alarmed about this. I don't know. Maybe I need to change my perspective. But in one of the things when this came out is like people in like a shareholders meeting. It's always great when you see that in an article, isn't it? About how shareholders are feeling about this. Yeah. And they said like, oh, they think Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings are underutilized, so they want to change that for value. So that'll be great. We're probably just going to get more cheap shit in the future, but I mean, I guess it's inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, the only positive is the people attached to it. I hope that it's not a cash grab, and that it's I think Andy Serkis is a good director. I think he did some like second unit directing on Lord of the Rings, and then
oh really?
And he directed, cool. I think Venom 2, which isn't a good movie, but I think he did well with what he had to work with.
It's got a finger on it.
Man, that's one piece of trivia I never would have gotten. Did not know he directed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know. You know, some people say that the second unit directing is more challenging because that's where all like the stunts and stuff are, and like the explosions or like car sequences and stuff like that.
And like you also have to try to make it seem as if the director did it.
Yeah, that's true.
So you have to also be very familiar with their style.
Was it like, I mean, is film, and this is like a larger conversation, but is like film directing kind of like coaching in the NFL, where like the head coach is kind of like the figurehead, and it's like the people underneath that do all the work?
I mean, every project, at least in my experience, is a little bit different. Some directors are shit. Some directors are really a great like captain or a coach. I think about it more as like chess. Like a good director has like the vision of how they're going to accomplish this project, this chess match, and they're like helping coach or manipulate and pull things out of like actors and crew to accomplish the things.
So just kind of get involved when you need to.
A good coach, a good like quarterback or a captain. Those are all good analogies for the ideal director. But sometimes they just suck and they're just like don't know what they're doing or whatever.
Right. And they might be heavily involved or not, or kind of aloof.
Right, for sure. But I'm sure Andy's got his heart in the right place.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
We'll see. 2026, I think, which very soon. So like that they must have the ball like rolling. Like, all right, script's good, I guess. We'll see. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right, next and final piece of news. This one's a bummer about gaming news. Surprise, surprise, more closures and layoffs occurred. Microsoft, they are just having a tough year. Tough couple months for the people working for Microsoft. IGN confirmed that they closed a number of Bethesda studios, including Arcane Austin, who most recently made Redfall, a game that Brian despised and sucked, and most people said was absolutely terrible. And then Tango Gameworks, that who create the Evil Within, but most notably, at least recently, Hi-Fi Rush, which is a game that was the opposite of Redfall, that surprised everyone and actually was a hit. And now that studio is gone. Yeah, this sucks. Like, it's not a great look in terms of like what is happening in just gaming in general. It seems like no one is really safe, which is a huge bummer.
Yeah,
I do wonder if this is Microsoft doing this because Game Pass is not what they wanted or thought it would be. It's not making them money, which who would have thought you put out all this free shit it's like there's a cap on how many people can get Game Pass at some point, and I think they hit it and they realized, we're not making money.
Yeah, it's gonna be like what was that? Was the Movie Pass? How that
oh my god,
that industry for a little bit.
Yeah,
it's like that was a good time for a couple of years there too.
This is just like classic corporate, like, you know, buy a promising young studio and then, you know, strip it for parts basically after they ruin it basically.
And like, look, we know that they've been spending money. Like they just bought Call of Duty or Activision for what, like billions and billions of dollars. Like obviously they you know, but it's also like I think everyone would agree if we would not have let that happen if there's been all of these other smaller companies that actually are making good stuff as well are gone. Like that sucks. Like, and I get it. Like it's all about money. That's all it comes down to. Everything is just like they need these Call of Duties to make their money. It's a weird cycle because then they're like, well, we made all this money. Now you small studios can make a fun game for us, blah, blah, blah. But when those studios, but eventually gets to the point where like, oh, it's not enough. And now we have to close you, blah, blah, blah. And it's just, it's a shitty cycle for these people that are in these tiny little studios that are, you know.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah, and then Microsoft hasn't really been handling it very well. One quote in particular that's been kind of circling around was what's his name? I can't remember, but he's the boss of Xbox Game Studios. This he reportedly told Bethesda, the staff, that quote, "We need smaller games that give us prestige and awards," end quote. Which is also like, isn't that exactly what Hi-Fi Rush was?
It really doesn't make any fucking sense, man.
You just shut them down. So like what? What are you talking about?
That was like the biggest wave from Microsoft in I feel like years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The only game that as a non Xbox or PC owner was like, damn, I wish I could play this game.
And it's like it's like what games should be, right? Like kind of back in
Yeah,
the
it's like
golden age of
good
games is
time.
what they were. It's like creative, fresh, new, but most importantly, fun to play.
Yeah, it's just a bummer. Like the Tango Gameworks, they were going to do a Hi-Fi Rush sequel. They pitched it before they got
Dang.
shut down, and then like Arcane, they had like a giant Redfall update coming out or just came out or something like that, and now it's all done. Like it's just like it's just a bummer. It's a real bummer, and it seems to be happening more and more in this industry. And it just happened every time. I don't think we've ever yet to see where a giant conglomerate buys a tiny studio and that goes well for the tiny studio.
Right, for sure. Well, hopefully everybody lands on their feet, and
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe people should just do more indies and just stay. I mean, I guess everybody's got to pay bills, so that's probably tough. But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know the solution.
yeah. I get like I think the one solution is to like find a smaller studio. Don't go to the giant big three. Like stay small and maybe just like license names out, but don't get outright bought by them or something. I don't know. But we hope it all works out. I would imagine that I don't think it's the end of Hi-Fi Rush. I think people are going to clamor for that.
Yeah,
we'll
right.
see that universe.
Hopefully they'll make like a spiritual successor. If
Yeah.
not a sequel, hopefully the team will build something similar and cool.
Definitely.
Exactly. All right, that is the news, everyone. Guys, we did it. Shall we now move into our main topic of the week? And by that, I mean we say goodbye to Alex for a little bit.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm gonna fall on out of here and come back later.
Oh.
God damn.
You like that? You like that?
All right, Alex, we will see you later in the show. But Devin, we are trapped once again in another fortress, or should I say a vault, because this
good one. That's right.
Yeah, listeners, we're wearing our blue jumpsuits, our blue matching jumpsuits. We're in Vault 4-0 something. Yeah, we got a little Pip Boy strapped to our arms. We're fucking our cousins. Because we are in the Fourtress Vault of
Fallout, the TV show. War never changes.
War never changes, listeners. Yes, we are talking finally about the Amazon Prime series Fallout, based off the, I would say, much beloved series and franchise of games, of Fallout games. I think most notably, what made Fallout the biggest thing. It was, people know, and hipsters will be like, I knew about Fallout before Fallout 3, whatever. Fallout 3 was clearly the big, gigantic renovation from Bethesda when they got it and created it. And obviously you had games like Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 76, that sucked. And now this show and a bunch of other little mobile games, whatever. Yeah, and so now here we go. This little this renaissance of video game adaptations are beginning since like stuff like The Last of Us. We've gotten other TV shows like that League of Legends show on Netflix that I still haven't watched that I hear is really good. And now this, here we go, the newest iteration of video game adaptation. That let's go non-spoilers. I'd say it's a success. I think this overall, critically and fan wise, people have I think agreed this is a good show. This is a great show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I think I honestly binged it. I think in a day. I was like, this is the only time I got a day off. Let's watch these. Let's get this 7-8 hours out the way and watch this show. Yeah, no, I overall I definitely think it's a good show. I definitely enjoyed it. There are some things that we'll talk about in the spoilers that I wasn't as crazy about in the show. But overall, like in terms of adaptation, nailed it. It nailed the Fallout feel. It nailed the weird wackiness of the world and the characters, but also like the actual real sadness and kind of somberness and like themes of the games as well. And even like cherry picked like bits and pieces of storylines from some of the games as well that are fun little Easter eggs for fans of those games and stuff.
Yeah.
They nailed the look, the feel, production wise, like minus a few like little like weird like CG creature effects that weren't 1,000% the best thing in the world. Other than that, like the production of like the look, the characters, the costuming, just like everything was just like it felt like Fallout, and I think that was that was phenomenal. Like it was so good. Like things that's the soundtrack, the writing, again, like all these, even like the little Easter eggs and all these things, like stuff like that. How Fallout's a game built on like choices and side quests, and they even built like fun things with that within the show. Just like clearly created by like fans of the game in that genre, and I think they did a very good job. I will say one thing. Sorry, I'm speaking a long time. One thing I will say. Again, because when this came out, obviously the big comparison was this to The Last of Us in terms of being the best video game adaptation and stuff like that. What I think this has an advantage over The Last of Us is the fact that it's telling an original story.
Yeah, can make its own story.
It's not held back by the fact that it's got ravenous fans that are. I mean, it does, and we'll talk about that in spoilers, but it doesn't have fans that are like, well, this isn't exactly how it happened, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And because let's face it, no one cares that much about the stories of those Fallout games as much. It's more about immersing yourself in the world. It's the same thing with like a Skyrim or or stuff like that,
Right.
So I think it does have that benefit of like, it just needs to fit tonally into the world, and that's it, really,
Yep.
And I think that, so I think they did a great job. Yeah. What'd you think?
Yeah, I agree 100% with everything you said. I think it nailed the feeling, which is what you should do with an adaptation, which we have not seen with Halo. We've seen it. I think Last of Us is a good comparison. It's good to be in the conversation with Last of Us because it got the essence of the story, and you're just retelling it. And that's what they did with Fallout. It got the essence of the goofy, dark world, but by also having a good original story that kept you hooked. And I think for me, that's really where I realized how much I was enjoying it, is like the next to last episode. I was like, I really wanted to know what was going to happen next. And that's not always the case, with shows. So, but it was a smart adaptation because of what you said, like the ability to tell an original story and give yourself that freedom to do what you want. And I think, that it just fits perfectly, because this could have been in a different world. This could have just been its own Fallout game, right? Like that story could have been its own Fallout game.
Absolutely.
And you can tell that they really did care about the lore, because there's so many Easter eggs throughout the whole thing of like, in this game, you play hours and hours and hours doing repetitive things, or like, doing the same kind of stuff. And they really, you could see, like, understood that. Like, when, like, I think at one point, one of the characters is doing like the hacking mini game to like get the password.
Yeah,
it's like
it's legit. The exact and
that's such an easy. That's just one example of many Easter eggs they put in, but it's such a good way to show like we understand this game, like we have played this game. And I think what really stood out to me was when I looked into like the showrunners, and like the writers have like a fantastic resume. Like
Jonathan Nolan. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they had worked on some incredible projects in the past. So, so it makes sense why it was so good. But yeah, I mean, for me, it captured the essence of the world, which is what you should do. And then it told a great story. And like, I actually felt something in the final episode. You felt emotion. It's great to see. So I really look forward to seeing what they do. And then when it ended, I was like, man, I just wish there was another episode. Like I wanted to know what happened next.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well done.
No. Yeah. Truly. This is, I think, why I don't remember what we were talking about, but I think we were talking about like what some new show, and we were like, where should it go? Or I was saying like The Witcher, because The Witcher was ending, and I was saying like if they'll reboot it in a decade or 5 years or something shit like that, and I'm like, in my head it's like HBO should do it, but then second thought was like, or Amazon. Like honestly,
Amazon could do it. Yeah,
Amazon could do it. They've got decent resume. Obviously, they've got the fucking money, even though they're sometimes, again,
and
there's some Netflixy creature stuff, but still.
And that's one thing you can see is very clearly is like, you can see which studios have the budget and which ones don't. So like, Netflix, and it seems like maybe Paramount are, they're going to try at a certain level. Yeah. And then, studios like Amazon and HBO and stuff, they're going to actually, put their full weight behind it. So, so you can see basically based on that, whoever gets the adaptation, right. It's maybe why it's maybe why like I think the people in charge of like the Lord of the Rings adaptation, which it was okay, but it's like they like didn't want to give it to Netflix. It's like, okay, y'all aren't doing this. Like,
Oh my God, no. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and look, it definitely helps Fallout that Fallout has a very distinct look and feel to its universe, and so just like it's I would say it's hard to fuck that up. Obviously, someone probably could fuck that up, but like, it's just they nailed it. They nailed it, man. It was just so
agreed.
so. Yeah, it felt like I guess it's the exact reason why like the creators and like Todd Howard said this is you can think of this as Fallout 5. Think of this as Fallout 5 to the point where like even Todd Howard, who's like the head of Bethesda Studios and stuff, Softworks, had to tell them while they were making the shows like, oh, you can't do that because we're gonna introduce that in the next Fallout game. Like there's elements that they were going to put in the show. They're like, no, you can't do that. We're saving that for the game. You can't do that.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. That's cool.
I'm like, what could that have been? Like story wise, I can't even imagine there's like an element they were going to put in there that would affect gameplay, but I don't know. It's either way, like interesting.
Yeah, but this is how you do an adaptation. See, and that's another thing. The involvement of Todd Howard overall is very smart because they did that. The Last of Us did that. I think they had the writer, from the original game, so they, like respecting the material and like having somebody there to kind of check you if you start going off script or something. I think that's how you should do adaptations. So I just thought it was very, very tasteful and well done. So I was very pleasantly surprised because I had really low expectations, but I was very pleasantly wrong. Happy to be wrong for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some spoilers then. So listeners, spoilers from this point on, just to aware for Fallout. Maybe some spoilers for game stuff. I'm not sure, but mainly spoilers for the show. Well, I will say, I just very briefly want to talk about the beginning of this show. In the first episode is probably my favorite moment of the entire show. It's such it's so incredible. And it feels terrible to say, but like, watching the bombs drop and just that the apocalypse happened with all that whole moment where, especially like with what's his name? Oh my God, what's the guy that plays the ghoul? I can't remember what his name is.
Yeah, shoot, he has like a famous like movie actor name.
I can't remember what his name is.
I mean, he's more important as the ghoul, but
the ghoul. But when he's talking to his kid. And he's like, they told us if you put your thumb up and the bomb is bigger than smaller than your thumb, run. And then the kid's like, well, what happens if is it bigger? Is it your thumb or my thumb?
Yeah.
And he just look, and it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That whole sequence was absolutely just incredible. Like, what a set piece to start with the show. It just incredibly well done, and it set up the world, like the weird kind of 50s futuristic weirdness to it type of thing.
And they did character development and like context exposure all in one 10-minute scene, and it's like, this is how you write a show. Exactly. They had context. Like over the radio, you hear about how the White House doesn't know where the president is. Just a throwaway line like that. It just sets up. I love movies that like set up like little things like that before like events of it's just like little world building things that if you missed, it wouldn't change anything, but if it being there adds a little bit to something. Right.
Yeah, very, very similar Last of Us vibes with how that show started with, like, it's right before things all go to shit. Yeah, and then obviously we jump to 219 years later, or so we're led to believe. Who knows? We don't know if any of these people actually know, but we're gonna assume it's been 219 years later. And we're in Vault 33.
Vault 33, and I liked how they like did her little montage again really well. I think the whole first episode was well written, but like her little montage of like kind of showing you her skills, almost like a character loadout. I thought that was very clever.
Yeah, absolutely,
and done in like 60 seconds. Like you catch up with who this character is.
She has a terrible speech. She can't convince anyone on everything. Yeah. She's got a zero speech skills. Her persuasion is absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Where we're introduced to Lucy, who I loved Lucy throughout this series. I think she's
absolutely.
very well done. Such a fun character that goes on such a journey. But I'm not gonna lie, and like I didn't think about this for any of the Fallout games, and so when this show did it, I was like, oh, that's probably true, and that's hilarious. How obviously, depending on who's in there, and you make kids, the kids are gonna eventually fuck each other, and they're all probably gonna be related. And so yeah, you find out she's fucking her cousin.
Didn't
like when that shit happened, I was like, "What the fuck am I watching right now?"
Oh yeah, and there's some issues in vaults that you don't really think about because, like, I guess some of them you're in cryo sleep for a long time.
Yeah,
but in the ones where you're actually going to like be awake the whole time, that's going to be an issue eventually.
Yeah, when that first happened, and like they clarify that she's not, but for a second I was like, "I think our protagonist is an incest baby." Is that what's happening right now? And like they're clarifying, like, no. The parents were from different vaults, and they did. I was like, well.
Yeah.
But yeah. I was like, this is a hell of a show. And look, Fallout is weird and wacky like that. So it adds to the craziness of this whole world.
That's the thing, man. Like, you can, and that's another it's another thing that makes the adaptation easier is because you can just kind of come up with a concept and you can just go with it because like I'm in Fallout 4 right now. I'm talking to like a super mutant that is like coherent, right? Like there's all kinds of crazy characters in Fallout.
Yeah.
So just go with it,
Yep. Yeah, basically. And I want to sit and talk about the vault a little. I think they did such a good job with the vault stuff. Just like how it starts as this happy-go-lucky thing and then very quickly turns into this really, really eerie, what is happening? What is going, like much like every Fallout game, when you find a vault, you're like, oh, this is not a good place.
Right. And there's always like a backstory, right? Like when you wake up or whatever you're doing in your vault, there's always like some kind of immediate, event to kind of get you out into the world and like,
exactly.
It is, and again, they like nailed it in this case as well. Because like the whole time you're like, as soon as the people from 32 show up, you're like, this is kind of weird. Like, what's happening here? And you're kind of like intrigued. There's like a little bit of mystery to it, And then when the episode ends, like when Moldaver locks her in the closet, that gave me such vibes of like, I feel like Fallout 4 when like they come and steal your son, and it's like, like you're trapped and you can't move. And like you could have put that scene in the video game and it would have worked just as well. Like,
absolutely.
Like you're stuck in this room and you can't move, and then they're taking your father away, and like, they're going to execute the other people, even though they didn't actually execute the other people. I thought
they didn't.
She kind of made her make that choice, and then they didn't really do anything with that. But I don't know. I'm glad she didn't kill the people because it was also cool to like see the dichotomy of like keep going back to the people in the vault as you are also getting the story above ground in the wasteland, where it's like, these people are just like jolly, we golly Americans, like, it's like, crazy stuff happening.
It's it's so well done. I do have to point out that Lucy is absolutely gonna have like a weird irradiated baby now. She's absolutely gonna. There's no way they had a condom. There's no way. She fucked a raider who was like literally irradiated. She'd put this thing on him, and that she's gonna have a super mutant baby.
Yeah. That was crazy.
That was crazy.
I just want to give them a shout out for that scene though, because I like how they did that. Where I like that they kept that scene fun and consensual, and then the only dark part of it was when like when she found out like after the sexual part. Like so I thought we should give them some credit for that, because they kept it, they gave her a lot of agency in that scene, and then they have a nice they have an interaction that's great, and then she finds out the truth, and then they can fight to the death kind of thing. But it wasn't like with
like no. Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
He didn't like assault her. Yeah, like she wanted to fuck from the get-go. She was just tired of fucking her cousin, so she was like, anything else he'll do.
Yeah. He assaulted her, just not sexually, and that's what I think. I guess I said that in the long way, but I like that. Yeah. I like that they did it that way because, I think it's just a little more tasteful. So
but like again, it shows this shows Lucy's resilience in this world, that she is capable.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, went back to the whole montage that they train in that vault, but like that, and then I love how, like, again, the good adaptation. They keep the wackiness of it. How she gets like full on like stabbed, and she's like, "Give up, stim pack, boop, I'm good to go." like this, like they kept that dumb shit, video game shit. They just kept in there because that's the universe, you know. They do the same thing later when Homeboy's like, "Oh, don't drink that water." She drinks the irradiated water. She doesn't feel sick. It's like, "Oh, I got some Radaway if you want it. Just pop a couple pills and you'll be ready to go." So yeah, I love, and like obviously aesthetically, it looks just like the video game. Like they put so much work and effort into that stuff, and it pays off. It really pays off. Like I love that stuff.
I saw one thing of like how the sets, they wanted the sets to be real a lot of them. And like they didn't want to CG a lot of stuff. So like I think that's why you spend a lot of time going through like, you know, abandoned houses, and like, you know, they like actually built out these sets and like did a good job with that. And you know, it's good. Like it looks really good. You definitely felt like it was a very real world. The only thing I was confused about is like, is Philly, so they were on the West Coast, right? Like around LA. But was Philly, they didn't go across to like, is like Philly's not Philadelphia, is it?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah. I think it's also spelled different because I had to look it up. I think I put the subtitles on. I think it's spelled Fila.
Well, yeah, it is, but like in a Fallout way, you know, that would make sense.
Right.
Philly.
No, I don't.
But,
yeah, I wonder why they went with Philly as well, but I don't think they went across the whole world, because then they end up back at the end. They end up back near Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I was like, okay, this is definitely Southern California, like the whole time.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously, the whole overrun scene, very Fallout, crazy shit. Loved it. Again, the unexpected gore that happens in this show, man. This show gets gross.
Why the whole time while there's like goofy, you know, like 1950s music playing, I think that was one thing that it nailed so well, was like the music. The music just took you right back into the world, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I really loved how they did most of the musical introductions or additions.
Yeah, and like even in that scene, the crazy goofiness is like there's a shot of a pregnant woman with a fork in her eye, holding a machine gun, firing a machine gun.
Yeah,
crazy. She's definitely evil, which is hilarious. She's definitely
31, man.
She's definitely evil, bro. Yeah. So
you know, I guess,
maybe she deserves
what's the
that.
line? I guess our corn is a little different. I guess our mashed potatoes are a little different.
I don't know about that. There's a little more. Yeah, just like it chaos ensues, and obviously Lucy's dad, played by Kyle MacLachlan, excuse me, from many things, the original Dune, because you know, Dune on the brain, but gets taken, which is very Fallout 3 in terms of the way your Wastelander going out in search of their missing father. So like a little nod to Fallout 3 there. Yeah, I mean, and then like Lucy goes on. I guess let's just stick with Lucy before we get to the other two. Lucy goes on like a fun journey in terms of finding this dude, having to cut his head off. I love her okie dokie catchphrase and the many different ways they used it throughout the show. It was so well done, so well done.
Oh man,
okie dokie. Yeah, and carrying this fucking head around, just hilarious. Like, so ridiculous.
I couldn't believe she did it. Like, you know,
I know
she was willing to do whatever it was necessary. So,
yeah, again, just like real dumb. These vault dealers can be real fucking dumb a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe I'll think of some more stuff to say here in a second, but do you want to jump to Maximus for a second? So I could talk about some Maximus.
Yeah, I think Maximus and the Ghoul. I think Maximus. I mean, my main takeaway from his scenes were, at least at the beginning, and like I really liked Maximus as a character, but man, they did a good job with those power suits. I don't know how they did it.
Power suits are good. Yeah.
That was so good. They made it like a thing that you could actually get into and out of, like, you know, just like in Fallout 4. Like, you know, it looks like a real thing, and it looks like they did it pretty practically. Like, I didn't look into how they. I'd like to know how they did it, but man, such a good job with the power suits. I just thought that those were phenomenal.
Absolutely, I agree. I will say though, like for me, Maximus, the character and his story, was the weakest part of the show for me.
I think
Definitely
so.
compared to the Ghoul and to Lucy's story, yeah. And it's a bummer because I really wanted to like it, but like by the end of the show, like from the beginning and basically by the end, I don't know how much I like Maximus really, and I don't know if we're supposed to like Maximus all the way. He's a morally gray character, like he's kind of a shithead, and kind of
Yeah.
like from the get go, like you find out he is the one who put the thing in his quote
No, but
unquote
he
friend's
didn't. He
boot.
didn't. It was the guy. It was the squire said that in the last episode. It was he had done it to himself because he didn't, or they. I think they might be.
But was that true though?
I thought so
I don't
because
know.
they said it to him at one point that they did it themselves because they didn't want to actually go out into the wasteland. So I thought that I read that as that was true.
Maybe it
But
was.
yeah, because
Okay.
I'm with you though. I thought in the first episode I thought he did it for sure, but then it was only that scene later at the very end where that character said like, "Oh yeah, I did it to myself." I don't know. Maybe I need to rewatch that scene, but I read that
same.
as truthful. But yeah, but I think that is definitely important. Like that's an important thing to clarify for his character because if he did do it, then he is kind of this, maybe kind of morally ambiguous.
And the only reason, like, I think he probably did was because he is morally ambiguous for the rest of the show. Like, he takes the dude's power suit, pretends to be him. He lies to everyone. He lies to Lucy. He even like at the end, at the very end, he's knighted for quote unquote killing Moldaver, and he goes with the lie. Like that's his character's flaw. Is just
well, yeah. I mean, he's doing what but he's doing what he's got to do to survive, right?
And no, and I get that it works for a Fallout character. I just don't compared to the other two. I just wasn't a big a fan of his as a character. I think that's on purpose. So I think that like I don't think that's a fault of the show. It's just personal.
He definitely benefited from his arc where he was with Lucy because her goodness rubbed off on him and allowed him to become better. So I think that I really liked their interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Just one quick note is like, oh, sorry. Well, no. I mean, it's a side note, but like when they're in the vault and she's like, "Do you want to have sex?" and he's like, "Oh, well, my dick might explode," and she's like, "That's kind of the point." Like,
and then later when he realizes, like, "Oh, do you want to make my cock explode now?"
Yeah,
she's like, "No."
But it's funny though because like you will get characters like that in Fallout because like think about it. There's no public school anymore. There's no society. No. Like you don't get sex ed anymore. Like nobody.
And that's what I'm saying. Okay? Like Maximus. That's why I think that it works for the character because he's also just real dumb because everyone's kind of dumb in the
childish.
world.
He's very childish. It's almost like he's like
he's like in weird suspended adolescence almost.
Yeah, and they played with that, but they didn't ever like explicitly line that up for us of like because he's an adult, but they never actually like laid out like why he was kind of like developmentally held back. So I don't know. But
I would imagine because he was in a fridge when a bomb went off and he's a child full of trauma.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
but no, it is. Yeah.
But he ended in a good place, because he was trying to save Lucy, and oh man. But yeah, But I don't know. I think I do think we need to clear up if he put that razor in the boot or not, because if he did, that changes his character for me. But if he didn't, then I think he's what I read him as which was a better person by the end of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I'm still rooting for him to have even more of an arc, but I definitely think like you have the three kind of characters where like Lucy's the like morally good one, the Ghoul is the kind of remorseful evil one, but more definitely the evil one, and then Maximus is kind of the ambiguous in between guy.
Didn't they say they were trying to do like kind of like a shadow, like an echo of like the good, the bad, and the ugly, and those were the three characters?
Oh, that would make sense.
I think I read that somewhere.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's one of the that definitely is how it would line up. Yeah. Which was surprising to me because I guess, segueing into him, like I really thought the Ghoul was going to be a good guy. like from all the trailers and stuff, I thought he was going to be kind of like a Minuteman kind of character, like a kind of like it
like a
just seemed like he was going to
lawful.
be kind of like introducing you to this crazy world, but in a
Yeah.
positive way, and he was evil.
See, that's the thing. Maybe it's just because Walton Goggins is so. I remembered his name. Is just so charismatic. I loved his character. I love the Ghoul man.
Oh
I think
no, yeah,
I think he's so good.
he was great at it. Like all of his like kind of Western style, like shadowy handoffs and stuff. But he was
Yeah.
definitely a bad guy.
But
like
he's definitely in. He's. But again, they do it a really good job with the flashbacks of how he loves his family, he loves his kid, and even by the end, he's like, "Where's my family?" Like 200 plus years later, that's all he wants to know and cares about. So it's like they do a good job. Again, this moral line that Fallout's kind of famous for with these choices and stuff like that.
Yeah, agreed. And
yeah,
again, like Lucy rubbed off on him. Like he started off as this kind of cold, willing to kill anybody on sight kind of person, and then by the end of the show, by spending some time with Lucy, and he it's not like he's not like a paragon now, but like he was willing to to let her come with him to see what happens next. And I think he'll keep growing on us, but yeah, I loved his character the whole time. Like it's just just didn't go the way I thought. I'm also glad that they in the fight that he has with Maximus and Philly, man, like he killed the dog for a sec and then he brings the dog back.
Oh, I know. I was like, uh-oh.
Thank God. Like don't be out here killing dog meat. Come on, man.
Yeah, I was like, oh no. Oh no. But yeah. Say the dog. Say the dog. It's okay. But yeah, I loved how they gave dog meat an origin. They gave dog meat an origin in this. That's pretty hilarious. By the dude from Lost, whose name I don't remember. But he's always he's always the dude from Lost. Yeah. Man, the Brotherhood of Steel suck. They suck, man. Like I know, like they kind of suck in the game. I feel like mainly in Fallout 4, they're just kind of real culty. But it's just like, man, they're lunatics.
Well, Fallout 3, they really help you out in the main story.
Exactly.
Fallout
4, it's
Fallout
like,
3, you need them. Fallout 4, yeah, they're kind of bad.
Yeah.
But I haven't even gotten through all the way through that plot line yet. But I don't think I'm going to be siding with them. Fallout 4.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, going back quickly to the ghoul stuff and the flashback stuff, the stuff in the past, like I loved getting to see a little more of like Vault-Tec as a corporation and just
oh my God, I thought they paced that so well because they started increasing them towards like the last 2 episodes, and that was very, very well done. But Vault-Tec, man,
with the big reveal that I was just saying with the big reveal of how his wife works for them, is like, what if we're just gonna drop the bombs ourselves? And it's like
that was so good.
That's nuts. It
was such a good twist. It was such a good twist. And then how all of the people in Vault 31, it tied perfectly to the Vault story. That all the people in Vault 31 are all just like executives from, or just corporate people from Vault-Tec. And man, listen, when that first happened in the last episode, I was like, all right, this is a little bit far-fetched that corporations would be happy to see the world literally burn in a nuclear fire rather than give up some profit share. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, it's not crazy at all. Like if this Vault technology actually was this far advanced, they would
sacrifice the world and be like, we'll survive and we can build again.
I'm telling you, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk would be happy if they were like the last 2 people left on a pile of bones. Yeah. But one was higher than the other. They absolutely would be happy if they're the highest ones. And that's the crazy thing about, modern day capitalism is and I love that they kind of, and then that's very Fallout as well. Like Fallout, has those kind of messages in it. But I love that twist. And I guess, is it canonically that, Vault-Tec dropped the first bombs? Because you don't really know, it's never explained who really struck first.
But yeah, it's not. And I think I like the ambiguity. You can imagine that probably, but you never know. I would imagine probably, and then the rest of the world reacted, but
right.
What insanity.
And it also explains why, because you never really knew overall, like why, vaults are so different from place to place. It explained that perfectly. It's like, you guys can try your own ideal society and we'll see which one wins. We'll keep capitalism going in the future, like which vault is going to be
It's
best.
basically,
It's like,
each vault's a different experiment. Yeah.
Holy shit. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I just love that like evil twist, because like the whole time you think she's
brain
like,
in a jar, man. He's a brain in a jar in a Roomba.
And I just love how they wrote that, like where we are with Cooper Howard, his Goggins character.
Yeah.
And we're with him the whole time as he's like discovering this. And it's like, holy shit. Like,
which is one thing they saved. I'm assuming we'll see it in season 2. We don't get the scene of him confronting his wife about this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still waiting for what happens there? We still don't know what happened to him. Like, where did he go? Obviously, when the bombs go off,
but at that point, I guess he had already divorced her by then. Because I guess we don't really know what happens after he met Hank. Because he's at the Vault Tech office, right? But then at that first scene, he's like divorced, I think. So the question is, so maybe they'll give us another flashback to figure out, like, maybe she comes for the daughter and then they leave him out, to the elements.
Maybe.
But it seems like, it did not go well after.
No.
In that meeting.
Well, yeah, because there's that line. What is he? He's paying alimony, which is why he's at that party in the first place, or something like that. This is the rumor. Blah blah blah. But yeah, like that's gonna be a hell of a scene when he confronts his wife about being okay with nuclear war and just killing millions and millions of people for a profit. Is fucking insanity.
Unbelievable, man.
God damn, that was a good twist.
But it's like, it seems so crazy to us, right? But it's how they are. Like, we do that every day.
Yeah.
Like, we let these greedy motherfuckers, do shit like that at the very top. So it's like, at first I was like, it was just funny because I was like, man, this is kind of far-fetched. And then I was like, it's actually pretty realistic.
I mean, especially for this universe of lunatics. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I loved that.
No, yeah, that was great. Let me see. I mean, I guess let's briefly talk about the ending before. I don't know if there's any other Easter eggy stuff to talk about. Obviously Kyle MacLachlan, he's in on it. He's not a great man. He escapes. Heading to New Vegas, it looks like. People were excited about that. Looks like we're gonna head to New Vegas. Get a little Deathclaw skull at the very ending of the finale. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm excited to see what more they do with it.
Yeah.
And like, obviously, I'm excited to see Lucy and the Ghoul team up. I'm excited to see what the hell they're gonna do with Maximus and how he's gonna tie into everything.
But like I said, I just want to know what happens next. But but again, they can take it in whatever way they want. And I guess this is the only controversy that there is like there's like a timeline, slight issue with the timeline or something.
And that's what I wanted to talk about. Where when I was saying earlier, I was like, there's no lunatics that are like, well, this didn't happen. There are, because there always will be. There's always gonna be. And my only thing is, it was like it may or may not erase some events or all of the events of Fallout 76, or at least maybe a certain ending of the game. In which case, I'm like, the game's still there. It's fine. It's okay.
Right.
It doesn't erase the game.
And it's like, maybe that date was wrong on the chalkboard. Like, maybe
we don't know
all the information.
How does anyone know anything in this world?
Exactly. And like, maybe that's for a reason. Like, it's so
exactly.
I don't think it's worth, like, especially with history, we don't, the dates aren't as important as what happened. Right. And so I think, look at it that way. Like, Shady Grove.
For all those events in Fallout 76 will happen. They're just going to happen with a different date. And that doesn't matter. Right. Who cares?
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't know. It was very sad that, like, the new California Republic was doing pretty well. And then, they blew it up. I just can't believe that. Again, like, Vault Tech people are evil, man. Because that was like almost a double twist. Like, it almost happened too quick with the other ones. But it's like, he blew up Shady Sands because I guess because it was like a threat to Vault
It
Tech.
was getting
like,
too
in
big.
their plan.
It was getting too big. They're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We were supposed to rebuild the world, not
Oh
you.
God,
So
it's
we're gonna blow
crazy.
you up.
And it seems a little bit like he was a little selfish because his wife was there. That she had
Oh
ran
yeah. Oh my
away.
God. Yeah.
And
Well,
that
it's
was right
because
in
she.
front of us the
Yeah.
whole time. Because she's like, I almost can remember like the actual sun on my face. And like they did that in episode 1. I was like, dang. And she actually, she grew
Yeah.
up in Shady Sands. Like that was a good twist.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. 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 That's it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she said she had a line of like, oh, it's so realistic down here. Like, it actually you can really feels like the real sun. It's like you just don't remember that your dad abducted you and brought you back here. Like,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's
Also,
crazy.
one thing that I don't think the show answered was like Moldaver must have been in Vault Tech somewhere.
Okay, thank you, because they owe us an explanation. So I have heard that some people think that maybe she was a synth. It's possible that she was a synth,
but then she died at the end.
Exactly. I need an explanation because I was like, for a while, I was like, she had to have been in cryo. How is she alive 200 years later? What is happening right now? So, I don't know.
And maybe it's kind of an oversight, but like they definitely, the whole culty thing in the other vault where they're like calling her like the fiery mother.
Oh, the naked people? Yeah.
They didn't explain that at all. And like, it just seems like if she's like this, kind of like secular leader of like, the new California Republic trying to like do what's right for everyone, it feels odd that like a vault would be worshiping her like a god. And also, I don't know. So it seems like maybe there were some cutscenes for Moldaver that we maybe needed to get.
Yeah, I'm really hoping they that comes back around because I'm gonna I don't like that. That's gonna be too weird for me.
Yeah, agreed.
But
I'll take it. It's like a minor question I have. It's not super crazy.
But it's just it's that's too big of an oversight for this smart of a show so that's why I think they definitely have plans for that. I don't think that's the end of Moldaver that we'll see. I think obviously because I think we'll definitely see her in some flashbacks.
She might come back? That would be cool.
Either come back in the present or definitely come back in some flashbacks. Yeah.
Interesting. That would be good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this world is wacky enough that you could pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think. Well, I don't know what else there is to talk about. Obviously, like full of Easter eggs. Obviously, I love the crazy robot that tries to harvest Lucy's organs. Lunatic robots are a big staple
and also
of Fallout.
Matt, I'm looking at the IMDb page right now. Matt Berry, the British guy.
Oh yeah,
I love that guy and everything he's in. But I love that they got him in for this.
Yeah, that was good. Talked about dog meat. To quickly talk about dude that's the fucking the shady quote unquote doctor guy who's fucking chickens. Who I think just turned our homeboy into a ghoul. He turned into a ghoul who may or may not turn into a super mutant, possibly. Who knows?
Yeah, I guess maybe we'll find out next time.
I'm waiting for maybe season 2 to introduce vampires. We definitely know vampires are in this universe as well. So maybe they'll get some vampires.
Speaking of that guy, Fred Armisen, just randomly here. Like,
dude, this whole show is a weird SNL grouping. There's like some so weird. There's and then there's the Cyclops guy in the other vault.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Chris Pine. Yeah. Okay. That was one thing that threw me for a loop because I was like, when have there been like Cyclops characters in Fallout? And like that whole like they didn't explain that a lot either of like why those mutants people having weird mutations. But again, it's
that's what they're saying. Those people were from the surface. Like this is a vault full of people that they rescued.
Right, so but the people that were like mutated weren't. They were from the vault, I thought.
Oh, well, that's because they're experiments. That vault was they were making all those experiments, incling that big.
I didn't need to see that video. I did not.
No,
need to see that video.
I did not. No, I did not.
That's like the one scene that my fiance saw. She came in and was like, "What the fuck is this show?" And I'm like, "Listen, I disavow.
Yeah, that was rough. They're just these poor women. Just not good. Not good. But I love that again. This show is so kooky enough that it works in this universe with the vaults. Like, you guys You're punished. What are we gonna do? You gotta have to leave. And what are we gonna do? We're gonna give you at least 2 weeks of food and provisions. Now get out. Like, oh, it was so well done. Like, so good, so good.
Some of the dialogue too is just very funny. Like,
yes,
you know what I mean. Like,
it really worked.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was very, very well written.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Just perfect tone of it. Perfect tone.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. I think that's it. Let me just look see if. Whoa, what do you got?
Well, I was just saying, like, and I do like how they did enough side. Like, I think he has a line where it's like, you know, thou shalt get, like, the rule of the wasteland is thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every time, and it's like,
yeah.
And they did enough of that with Lucy's story, where she had this, you know, crazy odyssey to get to her dad, and that's exactly how Fallout is, right? Like, you're gonna get sidetracked a lot, like.
Yep.
I also love that Moldaver just had him in like a cage, like a bird cage, just like
I know,
like not like a cell or something. Oh man, that and the battle at the end, man, that was so sad because, like, you know, like I mean, I felt really bad for the NCR because they're obviously kind of the good guys, but it's like
right.
And the Brotherhood of Steel, but you know, they're not necessarily like the real bad guys out there. The Enclave, which I hope they'll bring into season 2 to fight, or maybe they'll bring in, like, I guess if they're going to New Vegas, they'll bring in like Caesar's Legion or something. But that might be kind of weird for like a big audience. But I think if they bring in the Enclave, that might work to kind of offset a little bit of like might give Maximus a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know,
just make him
make us root for him a little bit more,
a little more likable. Yeah.
Because like there are times in Fallout where you're like, okay, the Brotherhood is kind of crazy and culty, but like I'm gonna work with them against the Enclave for sure.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I loved. I took this as a little like Easter egg towards the VAT system. When anytime the ghoul shoots someone in slow mo, I was like, he's using VATs. He's using the VAT.
Also, like, what gun is that shoots like little missiles at somebody? I never had that gun.
I don't know, man.
It had like a unique sound.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like they had the classic weapons, and that little pistol that you could get early on in most Fallout games.
10mm pistol, yeah.
You know, lots of classic stuff. Some rad roaches, which again, effect wise, weren't the greatest, but it's passable and
but you can
a good show.
I can look past that. Yeah. No super mutants this time. No death claws.
No death claw. No super mutant. Maybe season 2.
Some feral ghouls, but that was a big part of. I think that was good how they added in those feral ghouls because it's like a zombie movie at that point. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good scene.
Yeah.
Again, Lucy, just being the optimist, good person she is. That you'll die in the wasteland if you do. Yeah. Let me see. I love how we get the fucking origin of the thumbs up bobblehead guy with Cooper being legit him. Like, that's very fun. Let me see what else is there. I think that's.
Yeah, the hacking mini game, that was awesome. To see that.
That was great.
Brainbot.
Yeah. No, that was great. Yeah, I was just gonna say I did like how her brother and Chet's little story of discovering the vault. I thought that was really well done as well. You know,
that was, and that kept me. There were times where I'm like, man, I cannot wait to know what he's gonna find out.
Yeah.
Wait, so what happened was Vault 32 found out that they were all like Vault Tech people, and then they like revolted, and I guess that Vault 31 maybe locked them down or something. Like it was a little vague like why Vault 32 went crazy. But like you generally figured out that like they just found out the truth, right? And then that led to like chaos, I guess, where they were like fighting each other or whatever. Because I guess there were some people from 31 in that Vault 32, so maybe that's why they fought each other.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we see early on that they trade people for like different goods and services. So
right. It's also odd that Moldaver had this whole plan to like get everybody undercover, have this nice meal.
Oh, I know. And then like whatever.
You know what I mean? And also, if Moldaver was Vault Tech or something, she knew the truth the whole time. How did Hank not recognize her? I don't know. There's a few plot holes, but I can live with it. Maybe
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah.
Maybe Moldaver. Maybe she wasn't in Vault-Tec because he would have recognized her if she was. So maybe
That's what I'm saying. I
maybe
don't
she
think
is a
she.
synth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or maybe she somehow snuck into a cryo chambers. I don't know.
Wait, but also
yeah.
she was like, they kind of insinuated that she had a relationship, maybe a close relationship with her mom in Shady Sands.
Yeah. Yep.
So he definitely would have known who Moldaver was at that point. I don't know. I mean, it's a bit of a plot hole.
I think they're saving something. I think they're going to give us some answers in season 2.
More. You think more Moldaver?
Yeah, definitely. I love that moment where they gave us the little Fallout 4 theme when when Lucy's looking at the whole New Republic flag and all that stuff about stuff like that. That was like cool. I like that little bit there.
Yeah, threw that in there. And then War Never Changes. They really saved that for the end.
Yeah. Yep. Shit. I think that's kind of it. Oh yeah, we forgot the plot. All of this was because the head had a thing to have a fusion core to get power. I forgot that the whole other secondary plot that's in the head.
Yeah, that's funny.
But that's a thing, a Fallout thing as well. It's like I think Fallout 3 ends with like they're trying to start up like a big like hydro plant or some shit like that. I don't remember exactly.
The water. This one's for power.
Which works. It works.
The one thing on the fusion cores I thought was funny because I'm like, man, there's no way that Maximus could just like have this suit for like days because the fusion cores last like maybe an hour or two. Like
right.
They don't last very long.
No, he looked hot in that suit. He was sweating his ass off.
Yeah, but I like how they did that. You know, they made it kind of like realistic. Yeah, I thought the power suit was they did such a good job with that. I was really impressed by that whole part of it.
Yeah, man. I think that's pretty much what I got. I think again, a great show. I'm excited to see more of what they do with it. Going to New Vegas, doing other things, seeing other fun stuff. But yeah, again, like just keep the writing the way it is. Like the jokes are good. Just it all worked. What a random success this was.
Yeah, and now you got a good story that people are invested in. I'm invested in. I want to know what happens next, and you can have some fun. And they left enough stones unturned to where there can still be things to build on. And they didn't introduce you to every single faction, and that's the way it should be. And then the next game, maybe we'll meet the Enclave or the Institute, or more of the factions in the next one, and that'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. They could also do. They're not going to, but they could also do it where this is a weird anthology and just introduce new characters each season, type of thing. Just in this weird Fallout world, they could also do that. They won't because the people I think are already attached to these characters. Like I want to see more of them, but
I want to see I want more Lucy for sure. So
yeah. But cool. There you go, listeners. Okie dokie. Fallout. Good success.
Okie dokie.
Look at that. What could be the next great video game adaptation? Will it be Sonic the Hedgehog 3 this year? Who knows?
Oh, geez. Hey, somebody's got to take a shot on Mass Effect at some point.
Man, hey, it could. But again, I think that's one where that one's harder because I think people expect that Mass Effect story rather than Fallout work.
That's true.
Rather than something else. That's not to say it was easy to make this Fallout show, but they had a bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, it'd be like I picked the Renegade choice, and you guys always picked the Paragon one in the show. That's true. Yeah, that's the nice thing about Fallout is you could definitely do so much flexibility. It's just a smart adaptation. So
yeah, absolutely.
Cannot wait for season 2.
Yeah, that'll be good. But alrighty, listeners, that is it. Fallout, check it out. 8 episodes, not too bad to watch. Check it out on Amazon. But Devin, now I believe it is time for us to head into our final segment of the week and also to bring Alex back in.
Right.
What's up? I'm back. I fell through the hole 2 times, and I've returned just like Pac-Man.
Nice. You emerged from the vault.
Yes.
Yeah. You're back in the wasteland.
It's very bright. It's very bright, but the fresh air is so good.
Yeah, listeners, here we are in our final segment of the week, which we like to call Free for All. This is a segment, listeners, so we can kind of do whatever we want. We can talk about our day, talk about life, fight, rant. It is free for all. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Oh, you go.
I'll fight you.
You go.
I win. I'm just gonna rattle off a couple things that I excitedly watched recently. My wife and I started a new series. It's called Killing Eve. It's on Netflix. It's pretty fun.
Oh,
It's starring, I forget the actor's name, but she plays Christina Yang in
Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy. Yeah. Brian would know.
Sandra Oh. There we go.
Yeah, Sandra. Oh, damn. Yeah, she's phenomenal. She's hilarious and very low key, which is totally the vibe of the series. It's like an espionage thriller spy MI6, but with a lot more paperwork and talking and bureaucrats. But it's got jokes. It's really fun. It's like a slow burn, witty, funny thriller series trying to catch this this killer on the run. It's really fun. We're watching that on Netflix.
Nice.
And then a couple days ago, I finally saw Dune Part 2 in theaters, and it was so fucking great. It was a great time. It was really cool. I'm so glad that I caught it in theaters too. It was like, I mean, I've been wanting to for a long time, but it's just hard to find the time. But I'm glad I made it happen.
That's what cinema's all about, right?
Yeah, man. I think I saw an article that was talking about how the Dune series is coming out in such a amazing time for people of our age group, that people are like mid-20s, mid-30s, whatever. Because we have Star Wars, but people of our demographic, our age group, we kind of missed the hype. We missed when they were theatrically releasing the original series, and then we got the prequels when we were kids, and then the sequels that weren't very good. So it's like a really great moment for like sci-fi and cinema history for us as like adults with like fully developed brains to really appreciate this art that's coming out on the big screen. It's just really, really exciting. The only downside is it was crazy how they completely ripped off Return of the Sith or Revenge of the Sith. Didn't see that one coming. Didn't see that coming.
Hey, or was it that Revenge of the Sith ripped them off?
Yeah, that was
that's what it really is.
That was a bad joke, but for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Herbert definitely didn't. The funniest part about it is that like he wrote that book and he wanted you to feel like, because at the end of Dune, right, we're all like, yeah, I'm fully in with like Paul Atreides, right? And then he's like, oh, you guys all missed the point. Like, you got to beware of these messiahs, right? So that's why he wrote the second book to like kind of counter argument his own. But cool. That's on him. Like, if you want to sell this message, you have to do it clearer. And he did. Like in the book, it's pretty clear, but it's also like it's like, how can I not root for Paul when he's fighting the Harkonnens? They're like so easy.
Exactly.
Like, you gotta
I think that's the worst. That's the worst
it's the
part.
main character. People can like have spent time relating to that. Audiences now, I think, are a little bit more accustomed to being attached to a main character that isn't always morally correct.
What was your favorite shot from Dune Part 2? What was your favorite cinematic shot?
I don't know. I'm pretty bad at favorites in general, and there were so many moments in there that were just so stunning. But one of my favorite moments, not necessarily visually, but just one of my favorite moments was when I think it was kind of towards the end when they're in this like last battle or whatever, and it's very Lord of the Rings, and this huge stampede of Fremen are coming towards this ship that looks like a Pokemon ball, and they're charging after the Pokemon ball, and they're getting closer, and homeboy Timothy Chalamet is leading the front. It's so fucking badass, and I'm in the theater by myself just like, yeah, let's fucking go.
I can't believe that movie's still in theaters. I can't believe you found a theater.
I know, it's a miracle. There's a bunch of them in New York, surprisingly. But then all of a sudden, right when you think you're just going to wait it out for them to collide, all these other Freemen pop up in the sand in the foreground, and they're like 10 feet in front of the bad guys, and you're just like, that's just so fucking badass.
Oh man, there's two shots from that part that I mean, there's so many shots in the whole movie, but like there's one where it's like kind of like heat haze, and you can see the Fremen like charging like over this hill, but you can't really see them because it's like hazy. And then the shot with like the sand goes out, and then the worms just come like through the sand to like attack the army. That probably is like, you can tell that was like the director's favorite shot, or no, it's not his favorite shot, but it's like you can tell they loved it because like they play that a lot on like trailers and stuff. But oh
Right, for
god,
sure.
it was so cool. Like,
yeah, I can't wait to. I'm not gonna see it in theaters again. I wish I could, but I can't justify the $20. But I can't wait to
Right.
see it again. I loved it so much more than the first one, and I think I
Yeah.
knew I was going to. It just had so much more real shit happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also watched a couple YouTube recaps of the first movie, and before I went to see the second one, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what this fucking movie's about. Got it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Makes
First
a lot
one
more
was
sense.
very much a setup. They also did a pretty good job marketing the first one, because I remember seeing the first one and then like really small letters it says part 1. I'm like, part 1? Like,
Yeah.
I thought this was gonna be the whole thing. But
Duped us.
it's worth it though, so that they could fully flesh out, you know, both parts. It was great.
It makes sense in hindsight for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm not mad about it.
It was great. I also
Yeah.
would like to go on the record and redact my free for all from my last time that I was here, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
What?
I talked about little reindeer or baby reindeer.
Oh,
I talked about how intriguing this series was on Netflix and how we'd seen the first episode and how interesting it was. But, you know, after talking to you guys and doing some reading, I didn't realize, I think one of you guys mentioned that it was based on a true story.
yeah.
It turns out it definitely is, and the main character is playing himself.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a weird feeling knowing that, like, the story, I only watched the first episode, but the story seemingly is about how he's taking advantage of this person who has mental illness and is attracted to him, and kind of keeps running her through a loop to keep her involved with him to help escalate his comedy career.
Oh,
Interesting. Oh,
and
wow.
he's just kind of playing her, like dragging her along on this to get her to come to his shows, to laugh at his jokes, because nobody else was.
Interesting.
And then he writes this pilot or this whole series about that whole interaction without homegirl's permission. And it's just kind of it's like doubling down on the whole plot. So it's just it was like, ah, damn, I don't know, morally, I don't know if I can continue watching.
Wait,
this.
so yeah, like this, that's interesting.
It's very off-putting. So, you know, just going on the record saying I don't think I can endorse or recommend this project that
interesting.
I initially didn't have enough knowledge about.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's super interesting.
So yeah, go watch Dune instead.
Yeah, just watch Dune again.
or Killing Eve, which is also on Netflix and is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that shows, yeah, you have that whole show on there. You can watch the whole thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Nice. Yeah, Dune. Good. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Glad you got to finally fucking see it.
Yeah, it's all I can think about. It's a couple days ago.
Devin, what you got?
Well, since we just talked about Fallout, because of the show, I started playing Fallout again, and I just picked it up. Like, I hadn't touched this game probably since it came out. Like,
wait, which one?
Which one?
Fallout 4. So I had put in like a good amount of time into it. So I just like went straight back in, where it's like, and in Fallout 4 you can like reorganize your like village, like you can make a little village and stuff, and like there's crafting and stuff. So I had like all these resources, and I had shit all over this like town. And I'm like, what was I doing? Like, I wasn't playing this game, but I picked it back up pretty quick, and it's a very fun game. But I also realized like how back then, this is like mainly what I wanted to share with you guys, is like back then I'd be like I would want to follow through with most quests just to see where they go. You know what I mean? And so like, I would be very like, well, if it's morally, you know, maybe you shouldn't be following this person or like progressing the storyline, I'll just do it just to see where it ends. But I had one yesterday. I think I just have less patience for this kind of stuff now. So I had one yesterday where like you open this vault and this lady is like wanting to like lure people in, like the vault person, she's like a ghoul, and she wants to like lure people in to like do tests on them, like vault tech kind of, you know, nefarious tests. So I was like, at first I was like, no, I don't really want to work with vault tech. She's like, oh, well then you can't, you know, use the vault. And I'm like, okay, like I'll, whatever, we'll take it to one next step. And then I started reading like what we were gonna do. It's like, yeah, you gotta lure people in here. I'm like, nope. And I just shot her, killed her immediately. And I was like, I don't care. Like I'm ending this, whatever this plot line is, it's not worth it. So I just like killed her. And it's like, quest failed. Like, I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm not signing up for this. So I have far less moral ambiguity now than I used to. So, I'm just not gonna play the game forward. At that point, I'm just like, okay, if you're a little sus, you're done. Like, so I thought that was kind of fun.
That's great.
And you know what? You get to explore the vault anyway, so it's like it's a win-win. It's you can keep your integrity
not for
and
the
also
other
get a free
person.
vault. Huh?
So not for the other person.
Yeah, well, she was an evil genius kind of person, so I was like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that.
That's
but anyway, but that's the fun thing about Fallout is you can do stuff like that. So
yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, so you're playing it on your new, because you talked about last week, you revealed you got a new gaming PC.
Yeah.
Or just a PC in general.
I'm playing it on my Xbox.
Devin, what the fuck? He's got the future in his hands, and he's still playing his old Xbox.
I wonder, could you transfer your data? Like, if I loaded up Fallout 4 on my PC, could I?
I would imagine you could probably boot up because you could probably save to the cloud or some shit and boot it up.
I think it does
because I had to save to like a Microsoft account or some shit.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I would imagine so.
I don't know. It's a good question.
Brian's not here, but he's screaming.
He would have the answers. Yeah, yeah.
He's like, you're not playing Fallout with mods and all this shit. You're playing it on your Xbox One or whatever.
For guns, what's the point?
Yeah, he is gonna murder me when he figures out that I'm still playing like the base version on Xbox. But
that's so funny.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've contemplated going back after watching the Fallout show. I was like, man, I would hop back in, but then I thought about it. I was like, nah, it's too much time. Nope.
Yeah,
I can't. As soon as I would get in, I would not know where I am, or it's like starting The Witcher. It's not like I was just like,
yeah.
I don't know what. I can't. There's too many hours.
But it's not that crazy. Once you get the controls back down, you're good to go. You just had to figure out.
Yeah.
And I just
remember.
Oh, go ahead.
No. I was just saying. I just remember they added that whole element where you can build your base, and I was like, I'm done. I don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, I just didn't. I don't think I got that far in 4, or just opted to not do that shit.
You don't like have to do any of it, but I do because it's I find it fun. But like I get like you don't have to do as much. You can do as much.
It's fun. It's just I vaguely remember their interface being absolute garbage on how to build stuff in that game. It was so convoluted. Now my brain is just like I don't want to sit here for hours trying to figure all this out.
Where's Fallout 5, everybody? What's going on?
It's called the Amazon show. That's Fallout 5.
That would be cool.
Honestly, they've said that is basically Fallout 5, which makes me want to believe and love that they just come out with Fallout 6, the video game, and
that'd be pretty cool.
I would love that. Cool. Just call it Fallout 6. Call it Fallout 6. Nice, man. Nice. That's dope as shit. I guys have done absolutely nothing in the past since we last recorded. I've been very busy, so I have no real free for all. I guess I will say I continue to watch X-Men 97, which I think is one of the best things Marvel has put out since Endgame. It's fucking amazing. It's one episode left, and I just adore the fuck out of the show, and it's just so.
I gotta catch up. I think I watched 3 episodes so far. It's really good.
It's so good.
Oh man, you're about to hit some good shit, Alex. But yeah, it's just a great show. I can't wait to see how it wraps up. I'm very excited. So did a little bit of that. Still didn't get a chance to watch the Star Wars Tales of the Empire little shorts. I didn't get to watch that. I'm planning on going to see the new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes soon, so I'll probably talk about that at some point next week or two, whenever I have the time, because I hear it's pretty good, and I love those Planet of the Apes movies. At least the new 3 with the speaking of Andy Serkis, like we did earlier in the news. As Caesar, I love that iteration of those movies. I was never a Planet of the Apes kid really growing up, so this was my only real Planet of the Apes experience, and I love those movies. So I hope that this one is still good.
Is this the 4th of the new revamp Planet?
Yeah.
Of the Apes? Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think I watched the first 2 that were really good. I don't know if I saw the third one.
Yeah. Third one's still pretty good. Third one's still good. It's honestly like I've said this, maybe on the podcast, I don't remember that is one of the best trilogies in my brain, like of all time. Like underrated as fuck. People don't think about it, but like
underrated, but the best. Wow.
One of the best, yeah. Like because they're all great. All 3 of those movies are just fucking great movies, and people kind of forget about that trilogy. It's like, oh yeah, those movies were really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to see this new one, and so that, and that's pretty much it. That's my free for all. I ain't got much more because again, busy times in life, but it's good to be busy. Good busy. Which means, guys, that is the end of the show for us, listeners. You can email us at thefortresshub@gmail.com, Fortress spelled FOUR, for free to email us any feedback, questions, recommendations, anything like that. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube channel at The Fourtress. Oh, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your grandma, tell your cat. Follow the 3 Bollywood R's, rate, review, recommend this to anyone and everyone you know. Thank you, Chucky, for helping out at the podcast every week. Thank you, Brian, for the art, Alex for the music, and Devin, thank you for being here. Even when you're not here, you can find Brian on Instagram at ITZ_, by the way, Alex at Peterson Films, and Devin, you can find him at Vault Dweller 44.
Yeah. Vault 88,
no,
not running experiments on people.
Yeah, I was about to say. No, Devin likes 3s and 7s. Apparently, I forgot. So he would be Vault Dweller 37 or something. Next week, maybe it is time for some X-Men 97. A wrap up. Maybe it's time to talk about that next week. We will see. Oh yeah. Love that theme song.
I cannot wait to talk about the show. Tune in.
Yes, please. And as usual, listeners, happy holidays and put a coat on. It is cold out there. It was a little chillier today, but
it actually was chilly.
But then I got
today was nice in New York City.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. It's May. I don't remember the weather being this weird last May, but whatever. It's fine. Anyways. Global warming is a thing. All right, listeners. As usual, we'll see here next week in another episode on the Fourtress of. Oh, shout out to God of War Ragnarok. Woo! Got it in. All right, see you.
That's fantastic.